this is it, the final chapter of the Zombot saga. It's been a long road to get here, and I'm not just referring to the numerous delays. Before we briefly look back on how we got here, I'll place my spoiler warning tag here. It's gone from a tease of the horrible aftermath in issue 8, to Eggman doing experimentations in issues 13 and 14, to deployment on sapient beings in issues 15 and 16. There has been chaos ever since, with populations getting assimilated, named characters falling, and hopelessness and despair amongst the survivors. On top of that, Eggman had trouble controlling the Zombots after a time, and his assistant Dr. Starline tried to solve that problem by bringing in the machine-controlling Deadly Six, hoping he can control them. That plan backfired horribly, but this snafu gave the heroes some much-needed hope. After Starline was given the boot, the heroes and Eggman worked out a plan to use the Warp Topaz along with Supersonic to get rid of the Zombot agent once and for all. They just needed to steal the Chaos Emeralds from the Zeti. The fights were tough and sacrifices were made, but 6 of the 7 emeralds ended up in the heroes' hands. Zavik, leader of the Deadly Six, still has the final one, and he has his sights on Angel Island, the current safe haven of the heroes. Growing giant size from the wreckage of the face ship, he began spitting fire and tossing Zombots onto the floating landmass. Sonic has an idea involving Silver, and whatever it is, they need to hurry. Alright, let's end this. Sonic and Silver, who's holding the collected gems with his powers, heads off towards Zavik, while the rest try to keep the Zombots away from the Master Emerald and the refugees. You might be saying, why is Knuckles directly touching Zombot's shadow? At this point, it's do or die time, and Knuckles takes his job as Guardian very seriously. Sonic also wants Metal Sonic's help, and since Eggman's life is on the line, he orders the robot to do exactly what Sonic says. Zavik monologues that while he no longer has the face ship, he can still use the Zombots to destroy the world. Then he fires at Sonic and Metal Sonic. Thankfully, Metal activates his Diamond Energy Barrier, much to the real Sonic's relief. Silver tries to keep Zavik busy, while the Sonics head towards the Emerald. But they're forced to the ground thanks to Zavik blowing hot air. I hope he did not eat anything stinky. Sonic crashes near Orbot and Cubot's location, and they tell him to run since there are still Zombots in the area. Sonic wants to run up Zavik to get the emerald, but as you can see, he looks to be on his last legs. Pardon the pun. Things are looking badly for everyone on Angel Island, whether it's fighting their former friends, or delaying the inevitable. During this, Eggman decides now is the time to do some backstabbing to buy time for his escape, as represented by pushing Amy into Zombot Big. Don't worry, Karma's done letting Eggman off the hook. He tries running for the shuttle, but he doesn't get far thanks to Zombot Froggy. Back on the ground, Metal Sonic arrives to push away the Zombots surrounding Sonic. Yep, the Hedgehog didn't make it that far before being swamped. Metal helps him climb up Zavik. Unfortunately, being a machine, he falls victim to Zavik's influence. Again. Though why he didn't do it sooner is baffling. Sonic is able to make it the rest of the way to the Chaos Emerald, just as he's almost transformed. Silver arrives and Zavik tries to slam them both. However, he's too late. The power of the 7 emeralds once more transforms Sonic into his super form, burning away all of that transforming metal gunk. In addition, the emeralds alter Silver so that he becomes Super Silver. Well, that's a surprise. Or it would have been if not for the fact that about a week before this issue was released, IDW revealed issue 29's Comic-Con exclusive cover featuring the 2 Super Hedgehogs. You just couldn't wait until after this issue was released, huh? Before they enact the world-saving plan, Super Sonic takes out Zavik quickly. Anticlimactic, yes, but as Sonic puts it, they have no time to be fancy. Tapping into the power of the Warp Topaz, Sonic focuses on the Warp Portal, while Silver uses his psychokinesis to rip every trace of the metal agent off every living creature. As to where Sonic is sending this stuff, don't worry, he's not going to dump it off on some random world. He's making sure it'll never harm anyone ever again by sending it into the sun. Ah, the sun. Giver of life, destroyer of evil weapons. As Sonic and Silver do their thing, we see the reunions among the restored populace, some more heartwarming than others. The warp topaz is starting to buckle under the intense power, forcing Sonic and Silver to speed up the process. Once Silver confirms that all traces of the Ancient are gone, Sonic prepares to chuck the topaz itself through the portal. Before he can do that, there's an explosion of some kind. Silver crashes back onto Angel Island. While he informs everyone that the world's no longer under the threat of the metal goop, the price might have been high. We just can't have a clear, happy ending, couldn't we? End of the issue aside, we can all breathe a sigh of relief. The nightmare is over. And we can thank our Hedgehog Super Duo for that, as well as Metal Sonic. Them being prominent in the climax makes sense when you get down to it. Sonic, in my opinion, has suffered the most. He was one of the first sapient victims of the goo, and has tried to use this cursed with awesome to save lives from other Zombots, due to him running off the effects. But over time, the running became harder as the condition adapted itself to Sonic. Not to mention, Sonic still needed rest, which he cannot do for a long time without risking transformation. Sonic was on fumes prior to becoming Super, and was within seconds of transforming into a Zombot. Then there's the fact that while he could fight Zombots to protect the victims, he cannot touch anyone without infecting them. Plus, the emotional trauma of seeing the innocent people and his friends under intense stress, and he cannot do anything to physically comfort them. Except for Tangle when she got infected. No wonder the first thing Sonic did upon becoming Super was wail on Zavok, as if to relieve all the stress he built up throughout the saga. Well, yeah, he wanted the Zeti out of the way quickly so he wouldn't interfere with the world-saving plan, but I like to imagine stress relief was Sonic's secondary goal. Silver's presence is just as, if not more relevant. He saw the horrific aftermath and is determined not to let it pass. His actions since his arrival helped make sure the heroes can end the Zombot menace. And despite Sonic needing a tutorial on the concept of the butterfly effect, he made the right call on bringing in Silver to help. Based on how the two superpowered Hedgehogs struggled with the Warp Topaz, something tells me having Sonic alone handling the gem may have been disastrous. The two sharing the burden got the job done, with the only bad thing happening being Sonic's disappearance. This is also the first time Super Silver was used in the franchise since, well, his debut game. For those that predicted Super Silver in the comments section of my last video, give yourselves a pat on the back. Metal Sonic's role is significant if you take into account his story from the recent 2020 annual. If you've not read, or at least seen my review of it, it featured the robot trying and failing to get himself infected in an attempt to match Sonic's current condition. To him, the metal goo is a bane on his quest to become the one true Sonic. And if Sonic were to fully change, Eggman might have had access to a new robot Sonic, which could make Metal himself obsolete. Well, that didn't happen for the reasons I said throughout this arc. While he was under Eggman's orders to help Sonic, in a way, he was fulfilling his role as Sonic, in that he was protecting an ally while helping to save the world. Even if he was ultimately taken out by Zavok, without him, Sonic would never have reached the Chaos Emerald before becoming a Zombot. And let's be honest, the reason Sonic chose Metal Sonic to come along was because first, Silver was handling the emeralds, and second, Sonic did not want to risk his buddy Tails getting infected. And it gives Sonic vindication for letting him go in issue 12. Plus, deep down, Metal's probably relieved that the Zombot threat is over, meaning he can resume his ambition to be the one true Sonic. The other characters had their moments, whether it's sacrificing themselves to buy time, staving off the inevitable, or, in the aftermath, singing their own theme song. I wonder if these guys ever got in touch with the in-universe version of Gunnar Nelson. And if I don't bring this up, someone else will. Tails' scared pose here is reminiscent of his infamous scene in Sonic Forces involving Chaos Zero. In this case, it's justified because he's on his way to becoming a Zombot, so of course he's scared. There, got that out of the way. Zavok and the Zombots, sounds like a rock band. Anyway, they serve their purpose as obstacles for the heroes. Once Sonic and Silver got the final emerald and transformed, they're as good as done. I don't mind the climax. After a long stint of struggling, heartbreak, and horror we've seen these characters go through, it's best to solve the problem quickly and start the healing process. Then there's the ending with Sonic's disappearance. We know he'll be back thanks to future solicitations, but I'm reminded of a couple of times Sonic disappeared at the end of a story, which involved portals throughout the franchise. First, there was an issue of pre-reboot Archie that had Sonic stop an alien doomsday device from destroying the planet using his speed to counteract it. This led to everyone thinking he was dead, when in reality, he was sent across the universe. He returned home after a year had passed. The second example is Sonic Mania, specifically Sonic's true ending in which he was sucked into a portal after an odd reaction between the Chaos Emeralds and a bizarre magic stone, the Phantom Ruby in this case, and winds up in Sonic Forces. So what's going to happen to Sonic here? We'll find out soon enough. My final thoughts on the Zombot Arc as a whole. I enjoyed it personally. Since our favorite heroes never dealt with anything like this before, we got to see them act and do things they're not proud of, and go through a roller coaster of emotions while still trying to be heroes. And this event makes the Sonic Forces War look like a walk in the park, even though that had lasted around 6 months. So was the saga too long? Well, that depends. Ian said he wanted to make sure the full impact of this event was explored as much as possible. I didn't find the length tedious, but I can understand why some may feel this way, given the doom and gloom feel. The numerous delays did not help, though given the current environment, at least one of them was justified. There were some bumps in the narrative, such as the repetitive nature of Sonic visiting towns to help his friends against the Zombots, having to run away to burn off the infection, and at least one friend becoming infected at the end. The cure subplot, I believe, only existed to give the heroes another kick to the gut, since nothing came from it. It was probably the point, but still, give the heroes some sort of hope prior to the Superform Warp Topaz plan. Then there's the decisions our heroes made that, in hindsight, are pretty bad. But it was for plot reasons. I hate it when plot-induced stupidity happens in media. Though, the level of hatred depends on how the characters handle the aftermath of a stupid decision. In some cases, in which characters will redeem themselves for a stupid action, that hatred goes away, or at the very least, diminishes significantly. The best way to describe the Metal... you know what? Screw it. The Metal Virus arc is, it's a video game in comic form. It would make the repetitive sections a bit more bearable if you think of them as levels you had to go through. On that note, do you think this saga should be adapted into a game? I could see it. I've already said back in my issue 25 review on how these final issues serve as the last story found in a number of Sonic games. And there are a number of things that could be drawn upon from past games, like the boost formula for burning off the infection, Sonic possibly bringing up past bodily transformations for the shout out to previous games, and have other characters have missions to save people, as preparation for the final story if nothing else. It could also be a way for Tangle and Whisper to become actual game characters, rather than being restricted to mobile games for the time being. I would wait until, say, Sonic's 35th anniversary before trying this, since, at the time of this recording, the world's going through a crisis. So it would be a case of too soon. Yeah, sadly, this arc will have the stigma of unfortunate timing due to real-life events happening in 2020. Realistically though, I don't think they'll make a game out of this saga, but if they were to try it, they at least have a solid foundation. Remember when I said that the Metal Virus arc was originally meant for the Archie comics? Since then, I've read that it was meant as a possible end to the Archie run. And I can see this, as it has the sense of an epic finale. This also would have used a major element from the Archie comics, robotization, one last time in a scarier way. I would not be surprised if other elements from Archie were retooled here. The appearance of the Deadly Six outside of a crossover with Mega Man was foreshadowed, so they might have gotten involved like they did in the IDW continuity. I wonder if Ian planned on making them an actual menace like he did in the IDW continuity, and Sonic and Silver getting rid of the virus using a portal? What if originally it was supposed to be a Genesis portal? A plot element that went on during post-reboot Archie was Silver traveling to different worlds through Genesis portals and sealing them so they wouldn't cause trouble. Makes you think of what could have been, huh? Well, we actually got got is a saga that, in my opinion, is well worth your time, despite all of the flaws I've pointed out. And with all parts now out, individual issue-wise, perhaps rereading it from the beginning will make the experience better, rather than having to wait a while between chapters. What we do have to wait for now is the aftermath. Not only is Sonic MIA for the moment, there's the massive cleanup the Restoration will have to do, and that's on top of the mess they were dealing with from the Sonic Forces War. For the time being, the Zeti are on the main planet. Whether they get back together or not, they will cause some headaches in the future, unless something changes in the next few issues. And lastly, Omega still has no body. That needs to get fixed. For next time, we'll see how everyone is handling a post-Zombot world. See you then! So Rouge decided to hook up with the Master Emerald one more time before the end. Sorry, my dear, Knuckles will never allow this union to happen.